All right, happy New Year, happy 2026, guys. How's it going so far? Thumbs up or thumbs down on 2026? Thumbs up. Yep,
Way
awesome.
up.
Way up. Two thumbs up, man. We're
Yeah.
off to a good start.
It's gonna be a
Um,
great year, best year ever.
well, that's the topic of today. We're not going to talk about New Year's resolutions. We're not going to talk about probably you won't even talk about goals. But I want to talk about what does winning look like in 2026. And so, without any more context from that, I'm just curious from your guys' personal perspective, just not advice to anybody, just for you personally, what does winning look like? So, Clint, kick us out. What's 2026? What does winning look like?
Um, Great question. Winning to me looks like a continuous chasing excellence. And so it's I guess it's the progression of a worthy ideal or a progression of the goals that I have, the future self that I have, and pushing towards that. So 26 winning would be chasing after that and achieving it. And so within the project 2020 or 2026 that I have, there's four pillars that I'm chasing, and it's just getting closer to those. And that would be a winning 2026. There is no finish line. It's always peaks and then into the next and then to the next peak. So it's a continual effort and continuous decision to chase excellence.
Hey, if you don't mind, just for if anybody who doesn't know, can you just tell briefly what is Project 8 2026?
So Project 8 2026 is the realization of the lifestyle and the future self vision that I have. So always having a future self vision and something to chase is great. But last August, which was 8 2025, I put down, I said, hey, at some point I need to be there. Like I need to arrive or have a specific destination that says that I've arrived at my future self, and then I'll create from there. And so 8 2026 has the pillars of the lifestyle that I'm looking towards. To be honest, it's not a whole lot different than the life I'm living now, but it's just the realization. And there's some certain metrics that I want to be at that will say I'm there, and then I move on from there.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Awesome. I love it.
yeah.
I love it. I love you got a brand and a name you went.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Brock, how about you? What does winning look like this year?
Yeah, well, I sold Clint's branding, the 8 2026, and kind of the three words that I have has been, Jeg, this is something that you had as a goal setting exercise, and it's literally the one that sticks out to me the most for each year of just like thinking those three words. It's my third year in a row doing it, and each year it builds to more meaning or more depth. And kind of, I thought it was somewhat silly or like arbitrary at the start the first year, and then to watch when you have those, you have something to steer towards, you have something to measure against, so winning is measuring back across those. And now the three that I have this year are building identity and balance. Building, it has multiple measurables within my personal life, within my relationship, within my relationships with my kids, like having one-on-one time, being super, super intentional on building bonds with each one of my kids. Within the business, we're in a building phase, both at the gym that I've had for a long time with our new last week. Actually, we finally finalized our business deal there, so that we're very much building there, and then building in my health coaching, mindset coaching business. Identity, my personal side, it's faith is huge for me. Having a very clear identity there within my health. On the gym side, it's more of a quality movement, longevity focused gym. Like having that as our identity and having everybody come in, whether they've been there for a long time or are brand new, like they know exactly what our identity is and our culture is. And then balance is just something that I've been so out of balance personally and professionally. Like really, I have some really structural pieces built into my day to day that allow me to live that balanced life. And I'm seeing my stress at all time lows, my sleep at all time highs since having kids. So over a decade, this is the best I'm sleeping, the less stress that I have. And I got a ton of things going on, both personally and professionally, that probably shouldn't have it be there. But just like having that balance is just super important to me. So that's really long-winded, but that's what winning looks like, is just building identity and balance. Have measurables that I'm measuring across there.
Sounds good. And I know from knowing details about both your guys' life, I know it's documented, I know it's specific, I know it's time bound, um, which is super critical. Otherwise, if it's this general get healthy, get better sleep, work out, it's like that's great, but it's very incomplete. So, well, for me, winning in 2026, it's kind of one of those things where one, I get the benefit of going last and thinking about this a little bit more, and so it's sometimes your head goes to specific things, but I'm going to pull it back. And what we talked about before we went live here is one of the things that I really want to focus on this year is getting more simple in my life to have more impact. And because I'm like a lot of guys, I have a little bit of the bright, shiny object syndrome. I like to do new things. I don't really like to tend the garden. I like to plant the garden, but I don't want to tend it. It's like going to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And so, and I've gotten better at that, but I really want to like get simple and just the things I do. I want them to be super high impact. So that's number one. Um, so keeping promises to myself, that's what winning is going to look like. So I've got, just like you guys, we're not going to go into goals. Got a bunch of goals, business and personal. If I keep the promises to myself, and I'm looking at my big ass calendar right now, and I just cleaned off last year, put up the new sticky note, post-it notes for this year, and this is such a powerful thing. Like literally, it's right in front of me, and I can look at this and go, "Wow, there's some cool stuff up there already. Lots of open space, which is an opportunity." But I also don't want to fill up the calendar either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's strategically keeping open spots on your calendar to allow me to again keep things simple. And so that's a visual reminder. So if you guys don't have Jesse Itzler's big ass calendar, it's a huge analog tool. I'm sure Brock's gonna. There it
I
is.
gotta put mine up yet. I got all my it's in my box still.
Yo, that's gonna have to uncurl
That's
for a
this
while.
week.
Yeah. All
You
right.
know,
So
one
that's
one
go
thing I
ahead.
want to point out there, Scott, that it just illuminates how good of a leader you are. You said something to me 2 years ago that has it's riddled me, and it helped me um, just kind of like reestablish. It's the biggest reason for balance is you said, man, you're pretty efficient, but you're not very effective. And what you just laid out there, that's simple, yet you really impactful. I mean, that's effective right there. That's practicing what you preach, and I like that.
Well, isn't it funny? Like a lot of us, we attach busyness with success.
Hmm.
We were just talking with some friends, and they travel like crazy, and I just go, how do you enjoy life when you're constantly traveling? Now, maybe I have a lower tolerance. I love travel too. I love the day-to-day structure that I have too. So it's like, I guess you got to find what's right for you, but efficiency is awesome. But when you're optimizing the wrong things, it's just not a good strategy. And
Just
so,
wear yourself out.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So that's a good segue. Let's talk about metrics. If you guys were to say, I'm curious, two-part question. What's one metric that you are going to really leverage this year for yourself personally? And then talking about the average guy over 50, if there's one metric or two metrics that they should consider using in 2026, what would they be? We'll kick it off with you, Brock.
Um, Gosh, the piece it comes to always metrics always come down to planning and spending time to have that structure. It comes back to my morning routine, and I would love to go into detail on exactly what that is. It allows me to have the desired impact that I want. So I talk about my morning routine in here all the time. It's literally the most important thing of my day, and so it starts with I mentioned faith is huge for me. I have a number of people that I follow at different churches throughout the nation that I take notes on it. And what I love about it is like they're relevant topics. They're on, how to parent, how to have good marriage, dating relationship, wherever you're at, different things within your business and personal life that just, it allows you just to get things in just to see how that relates. I take notes on it, and then I write down my thoughts, and I send it to my girlfriend, who have been dating for almost a year now. And I've in the last um 290 days. I've sent her 277 today on those things. But it just allows us to really grow together in our relationship, see, how we are handling different stressors or parenting or successes or things we're working towards. So it's super, super intentional and measurable there. I'm doing all of my mobility, foam rolling, or balling my hips and back while I'm doing this. I'm drinking two of these water bottles, one with electrolytes and creatine in there while I'm doing this. And then I map out my entire day, that's based on, broken down from, I have them in quarterly sections to monthly to weekly to daily, but it allows me to really have that measurable impact that I want to in my personal, professional life.
Awesome. So, what's one metric you would recommend to a man over 50?
Have a morning routine, or specifically a journaling process that you can have something to measure against each and every day. Because I mean, how many of us, you already mentioned it on the thing we were talking about before, is just like that busyness. We're all busy, but how many times you get to the end of the day of like, hey, what did you accomplish today? Well, I worked. Okay, well, or I handled the kids. Okay, well, what did you do? I don't know, but I was busy all day. But like, when you have something that you say that you're going to do, that you're looking at in your journal, I do it every single day, and you have my top three, could go back and check on those. So I think having something, a roadmap each and every day, and then you zoom that out a week, a month, a quarter, and you're able to see the impact that you actually had. So having that would be the measurable
Got it.
metric.
How about you, Clint?
So that's tough to follow up, Brock. I'm just gonna like ditto everything he just said. But my mind was originally going to so it's the metric. What's the main metric that you can measure, I guess, and consider a good year. But I was originally thinking a couple things that Brock already touched on, but they hit the point so well. First of all, identity. Like I don't know how you can measure that, but you have to you have to decide to become that identity, to have the impact that you desire, the impact on your life, the impact on the others around you. So my first thing is just making the commitment to, and then I go to the A5. We've got it. It's all structured for us, the A5. And within that, like Brock talked about his morning routine and the water and all our different A5s. But really the strongest thing that I can think of is the commitment, and if you make the commitment, you'll have the measurables, and then we've got the A5 to measure those. So that's really where I'm going. Make the commitment to become that identity that you desire.
Hmm.
It's a little different angle, but that's kind of what
Yeah,
I'm.
no, I like it because I think what I'm going to say, all of our answers kind of tie together. The what I would tell guys is first, the whole idea, do you even have a metric in your personal life? This whole idea of having a KPI or a metric, because I think most guys will go, what do you mean metric for my life? They have them in business, but so one, get comfortable with the idea that you probably don't have one. And if you do, it's probably loose, not generally followed. It's not specific. It's not a habit. And so once you get all through that and you kind of get your head into the fact that I need a metric to get better in life. If it was health, I would say get an in-body scan. It's such a high value thing. Nobody likes their first one. I don't care what, if you're a 12% guy, you think you should be at 10, you know? So no matter where you are, but it's all progress starts by telling the truth. You know where you are. And again, I'd love you guys to tag team on this. When we get the in-body scan, if you see double digit or higher visceral fat, we just know that's a huge health issue just waiting. It's a time bomb waiting to explode. You want to get visceral fat in the in-body in the single digits or in the 580. They measure it a little differently, but you want it in that case be below 100. And if you get one, you'll understand what this means. As we age, you got to hold on to every ounce of muscle you have, and ideally build it. And we've had last week's. Remember, I don't know how much Brian Lennon's added since he started Argent Alpha. I can't remember. Clint, do you remember, Brock, what he said
It's
he's
something like
added?
8 pounds or
8 pounds
something.
of muscle.
It's
Something like that, yeah.
crazy.
And the guy's 70 years old. So this whole idea of I'm old and over 50 or over 60, this dude's 70, okay? And a few guys were talking about, well, he's retired, and they were kind of saying because he has the time. That's bullshit. We got guys who have full-time jobs running businesses who are under 15%. Time is not the factor. It's making the decision like Clint talked about.
Mhm.
So the in-body scan, and then 75% of America by the end of the decade, it's going to be 80% of men are going to be overweight or obese. 80% by 2030. And if you don't know where you stand, you're not going to take action. So get the in-body scan, and then this is stuff we test every month. I think it's the single most important metric a guy can start with
Hmm.
to become CEO of their health. So,
Hmm.
um, and then I agree with Brock. The morning routine's huge. It sets the intentions for the day. Clint's 100% right. If you don't have the identity stuff right, you're just working hard. If you haven't changed who you think you are, none of this stuff is going to stick. So,
Right.
I think everything kind of ties together.
Yeah.
Um, all right, let's see. We're going to come up on time here pretty quick, but what if you guys had this is different from a metric, but it's related. What habit gives the biggest return for a man over 50? What habit, if you had to pick one habit that would change? And again, both of you guys have gotten to know well over 100 guys over 50 just within our group, not to mention the guys you know outside of this. Brock, what would you say if you had to pick just one? And I know that's probably more than one, but
Hmm.
one high return habit, what would it be?
Yeah, Clint, I'll let you take nutrition. Um, mine is mobility, and it literally it keeps you in the game, in making sure that your muscles, tissue, fascia, your body's moving properly, so that when you go and use it in exercise, whatever form or fashion you want to do, you aren't going to get hurt, because it's the one thing that if you're hurt, you can't be in the game, and then you're sitting on the couch trying to lose body fat and gain muscle is really tough to do. So being able to mobilize in the places that everyone's got tightness all over, understanding what that is, and then going at it not just as like, okay, I checked the box, but just like getting curious, figuring out like, am I noticing that my pecs, my bicep tendon, that my hips, my glutes, is anything getting looser? Am I able to get more range of motion? Because the more range of motion that you have, you then get more depth in the bottom of your squat, for example, so that you can gain more muscle. So it's like it's a couple steps back, so that, or one step back, so you can go many steps forward. Mobility, it's your insurance policy on your health and your movement.
Yep, makes sense. Clint, we already know what you're going to say, but tell us anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think any one thing is more important than the other, and all things work together for all the things we're trying to achieve. But just like we were talking about earlier, and what I noticed, I think we noticed one of the biggest issues with guys is getting the nutrition right. Guys normally don't have a problem working out enough. And to Brock's point, we all need more mobility, so I'm giving that. But really the nutrition point and the habit to create is um not just saying, oh, I'm going to eat better or I'm going to do this, is having a specific plan with specific goals and specifically measuring daily. I don't think we found anybody that's come in the program under 15% um that hasn't, has had a problem working out or training or anything. It's always, that's the main thing that we're focusing on, and all things work together, but that's the main metric to get to and to focus on, in my opinion. So
Yeah. Again, benefit of going last, thinking about this, I would say the number one habit men over 50 need to commit to is the habit of being consistent on at least one thing.
mm,
Just start there. Like it could be sleep, it could be hydration, it could be break a sweat every day, it could be eat one meal that's just whole food, but pick one thing and master it. Become consistent, and that will likely cascade into the next thing and the next thing. Because if you don't have the habit of consistency on positive things that impact your health, what then you probably have habits that are taken away from your health. It's like it's working for you or against you. And so it sounds like a general answer, but it's super simple. But it's like if you're not consistent, develop the habit of being consistent.
it's funny, I just had a thought. Minimal consistency in the A5 will bring much greater results than, a wheel that's unaligned. More consistency in training and less in sleep. Minimal consistency in each A5 will get you the best results overall. Would you guys agree?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just showing up every day, putting points on the board. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
One thing that my mind went to when you said that, Jag, I used to be a crappy day trader. I would trade penny stocks and all that, but there was I had a system that I followed, and the guys that he talked about, like 90% of traders lose money in the stock market. It's because they don't have patterns that they look for. They don't have a system. They're not consistent. They're just like guessing or following the trends. And I think that a lot of people do that in their health and nutrition of just like, oh, yeah, I worked out. I've been really pushing it. Or I ate one salad this last week. You know, like why are things not? It's just consistency is everything. Having a system, being able to have some of those things that you could depend on every single day are so important.
Well, it's fine. I'll steal a line from Jennifer Zick. She's the founder of Authentic, and she's a marketer. And she always talks about random acts of marketing.
Mhm.
Guys are famous random acts of fitness, random acts of nutrition, random acts of recovery, and it doesn't work.
Mm,
It's consistency. All right,
yeah.
one last one before we call it a day. Um, Traps. And we'll keep it short and sweet. What's number one trap you think men need to avoid? And I'll kick this one off. I think the biggest trap, you're going to have a pattern interrupt. You're going to have something knocks you off your game, losing a job, losing a parent, health issue, injury, is don't take the bait and stay on the sidelines. You got to stay on the field. So you injure your knee, great. Work the upper body, read books, learn how to recover, opt out of the sick care system, opt into the regenerative space, learn more how to recovery or to recover better. But that's what I would say is don't let don't you can't keep a good man down, and usually we keep ourselves down. So stay on the field, Brock.
I think a common trap, the probably maybe the most common thing that I see is the all or nothing mentality. Like you either got to do 100% all out effort or you don't do it at all. And to pick any area of your health, you know, and just comes back to consistency. Like I'll take someone who is consistently doing far less. They'll go way further than the person who is doing that. Those all in approaches will only do that. And it's the thing that limits people or has them get off track more than anything I've seen in my coaching.
Yeah, that's a big one. Yeah, avoid that trap 100%. Clint?
Yeah. I'm going to go a little bigger than that, a little bit more broad, but I'm going to go back to the identity piece that Brock mentioned earlier. Like that's everything. Um, and kind of tagging off what you said, Jag, is my identity, am I the healthy person having a treat or letting myself have a treat, or am I the unhealthy person eating a healthy meal and trying to make that work? What's my identity? But the trap is the too busy trap, right? Oh, I'm too busy, or I'm, too much going on. My calendar's too full. If you really think about it, if you have the identity, none of those are a trap. None of those are going to stop you. There's no excuses. They're all excuses, and Jocko Willink would have none of them. So,
Yeah,
my
that's a great
God,
point. Clint, I think what you're saying is step into the hero role of your life, get out of the victim role. When you're saying you don't have time, that's a victim statement.
for sure.
Your
Yeah,
genetics, that's a victim statement. It's
yeah,
take
yeah.
ownership of every aspect of your life. Yeah, and I was listening to that podcast. Who shared it? The most recent
Dan
Jocko.
Springer, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Springer.
that was a good one. Jocko's got some good stuff in there, man. It's just you can't escape it, man. Your life's better when you own stuff. That's a good.
Yeah,
Mhm.
All
yeah,
right. Well, hey guys, awesome. We're off to a strong start in 2026. If anybody's interested in our free community, there'll be a link in the show notes. Um, Pop in, no commitment required. Take a test drive. If you want to become harder to kill in 2026, this is a spot to do it. We got so many guys doing it. Watch last week's episode with Brian Lennon. You want to get inspired.
yeah.
7-year-old who will take us all to task, and we're all, we're all chasing Brian's taillights. We got a lot of guys we're chasing, and that's the last thing I'll leave you with. Chase somebody's taillights in 2026. If you don't see taillights, you're in the wrong room. We're on the wrong
Mhm.
road,
For
bro.
sure.
Yeah,
Share this podcast with someone. Fastest growing podcast in the nation.
that's right. Do not fact check us, but Brock is right.
Taking over Joe Rogan, right?
That's right. All right, guys. Have a good
See
one.
ya.
Take
See
care.
ya.
See ya.